the Sun and the Devil. The Sun upright can mean positivity and optimism, but it more means a clarity as the sun shines the light on things. The light on your situation makes things very clear. The Devil is a card that represents or means temptation, obsessions, materialism, negative influences, all those destructive habits that we find to be kind of fun in our lives, but we shouldn't keep in our lives. So when you have both the cards right side up, it could denote a situation where the querent is aware of or realizes that there is this particular temptation or obsession or problem in their lives. An instance, situational instance might be that this querent realizes that they're in a dead end or a bad relationship. Maybe they're using the person for their resources, or maybe it's a bad codependent relationship. Maybe they're admitting and they can see that they have an addiction problem or a gambling problem. They could be looking around the house and seeing all their junk everywhere and realizing that and seeing clearly that they have a overspending problem, a shopping problem, a hoarding problem. All of those things, it would be the moment of being aware of that problem. Maybe it's seeing a credit card statement after you went on a spending spree, or deciding that the job that you're at, it might pay you well, but it's not soul quenching. Maybe your friendships that you have with somebody are you're using them for some of their resources. The reason being that these materialistic obsessions are the driving force for the Devil card showing up. So yes, that it's usually in a negative light, but with the Sun upright, you can see that. And so it's the moment where the querent needs to start thinking about how they might fix that. The Sun upright and the Devil reversed indicates a period of time where the querent has already made note of and started to change the situations, the negative influences, the destructive habits that are in their life, because those things are finally going away. And it might be because of an actual concerted effort to get rid of those. Perhaps the querent is going to AA meetings or Gamblers Anonymous meetings, or they've hired a life coach because they're trying to get over their hoarding habit, or they're seeing a counselor because they are trying to get rid of people who they can't have good boundaries with, or whatever the negative influences that is falling away, which is why the Devil is upright. They can see that it's falling away, so they might be at a point where they're actually sitting back and looking at themselves, feeling a little bit of pride, or they could be feeling a little bit of a surprise. Maybe they didn't know what would happen, but now they can see that it is. So this is a good situation for the querent, because it looks like they have put a concerted effort in, or they have noticed for sure that these negative influences are disappearing from their lives. Now we're looking at a combination of the Sun reversed and the Devil upright, and it is the one combination in the 4 types of combinations that can happen with these 2 cards where it's a little unfortunate, because the querent is not seeing things clearly, or they are not self-confident, and they do not have the right mindset in order to tackle this big problem that's in front of them. The Devil represents such negative behaviors, things that people do over and over as obsessions, and they're attached to. And so if you have somebody who cannot see the negative outcomes that are happening in their lives because of these choices, then you're going to get an individual who is maybe being told from lots of people around them that are closest to them that they need to ... fill in the blank. You need to break up with that guy. You need to stop gambling so much. You need to stop spending so much money. You need to clean up this place. You need to, that's sort of the kind of sentence that comes along with this type of combination. And it's unfortunate because at the present moment, the clarity is delayed for the querent. Oftentimes, these 2 cards will show up surrounding the time frame when the querent might be unexpectedly get an intervention from family or from friends, or could just quite simply have an aha moment down the road but hasn't had it yet. And it also could be that the querent themselves are the ones that are the quote, bringing in that bad influence to them, to their own self. When it comes to, sometimes people don't think that it's that big a deal, and they've labeled it as not that big a deal. But there's a quote that says, no raindrop thinks he is to blame for the flood, which kind of just means like, well, what's the big deal, because everybody does it. And sometimes some of those behaviors and actions, it doesn't matter how many people do it, it's still not really good for our own psyche and our own mentality and feeling good about ourselves. And some of those things people just write off because the general population doesn't really think it's that bad, so, but it's not that good either. And sometimes those are the things that can really weigh us down over time when we don't wrangle them in and really notice that all of these not so stellar qualities could be the reason why we're not really where we want to be right here on Earth. So that would be an important thing to suggest. And here we are with the fourth and final combination of the Sun and the Devil card, and they are both reversed. We remember that the Sun reversed is a situation where the querent does not have clarity, doesn't have self-confidence, or doesn't have a way to know for sure in the present moment. Maybe it's delayed, maybe it's not even coming. But the fact is that the querent is unaware in some regard. The instance of the negative influences, the obsessions, some materialism, the negative influences are falling away. They're going away. So with these two put together, you have a querent who is unaware that these things are going away. Maybe they're unaware that they're being taken from them. There's a couple of instances where maybe in a codependent relationship, you might have one half of the couple who is unaware that their codependent relationship is about to end because perhaps the other person had a change of mind or a counseling session or some sort of enlightened moment where they feel like they need to walk away for their best interest, creating a situation where somebody's blindsided by the information of their significant other who they're addicted to in a codependent relationship. It's essentially that. They would be surprised at the notification. They might be devastated by that. Another instance could be that somebody's unaware that somebody who's been bad for them all along, and other people could see it, but they couldn't see it. And so maybe this person is choosing to focus their energy on other people besides them. And so maybe there's a luck that is involved where this person's just quite simply lucky that somebody stopped focusing their energy on them, where maybe they're not bringing the dangerous situations along with them. These cards combined might simply be a perfect example of a dodged bullet. They're not bringing the drugs and the alcohol and the partying with them. They're not bringing the player aspect of the dating relationships where they use people and maybe they're a narcissist or any of those types of things that could have been just dumb luck that this person has not chosen to spend their energy on you. Another scenario to consider when seeing this combination would be when the querent is not only unsure about something, but also not confident with how they'll be successful in this next goal of trying to get rid of the negative influences and obsessions or those bad qualities that they have known about. Maybe they do know about it, but they're unsure of how they can be successful getting rid of it. Maybe they've been faced with the knowledge that there's a tough love situation from people they love, where they say, you have to do this or we won't fill in the blank. And so there's the clarity doesn't necessarily apply to the actual situation, but maybe instead it applies to the methods that this querent needs to or should be taking in order to find success at the end of the road when they no longer have this crutch of whatever it is in their life, this thing that they've been enjoying, or maybe not enjoying, but just doing, bad habits. But they don't know how to get to success, and maybe they're scared of it, scared of the journey. Maybe they just found out they need to. These are the types of things that catch people by surprise, and there's this moment in between being glad that you did it and being told that you're doing it. There's that moment in between that where you don't know where to start. And sometimes these two cards together could indicate that particular moment in somebody's life. So those were some of my examples of situations that I commonly think of when I notice these two cards come together in a reading. When you're first learning how to read tarot, it is very daunting to try to connect cards together. And it's important to simplify, where you take the simple word of what that card represents and the simple word of what the next card represents, like we just did. The sun is always showing us how clear something is. Just like the sun shines light on things. When you understand them fully, it would be like it is completely illuminated to you. It also is something that can be attributed to how optimistic you are, and maybe because you are so clear on it. Sometimes when you know something the best, you're the most confident to go do it. You would be very not confident if you didn't know much about it, right? So that makes sense, I think, to everybody in regular English, not just in tarot. So the sun is telling us how clear something is. And it doesn't necessarily mean it's not ever going to be clear if it's upside down. It means that there's a delay in getting to the clarity, or finally being not stubborn anymore and allowing yourself to see the clarity. But the clarity is still there. When you get to the Devil card, it is about these things that chain us to things, to people, to actions, to activities, to bad habits. So are the habits continuing and going on strong, or are they on their way out the door and falling away? That's the upright in the reverse position on those particular thoughts. So you just have your clarity and you have your bad habits. These two cards coming together is letting us know how much we are realizing our bad habits or destructive habits. And are we working on them or not? And are we seeing them or not? And that's that. All right, everybody, leave a comment in the section below if you have a fully different a way to analyze these two cards together. I'd be happy to hear everybody's differing views. Thank you. Ta tarot for now.